Welcome back. I'm Austin Westfall. All week, you've been watching images of planes dropping red mist ahead of the fire lines in Southern California. That red mist is fire retardant. Let's learn more about it. Jeff Emery is here. He's the president of Global Fire Safety for the company that makes Phos-Chek fire retardant, which is being dropped day and night. Jeff, thanks for coming on. I got to ask you, we do talk about the stuff being dropped ahead of the fire line. Explain the use case difference between something like Phos-Chek fire retardant and water.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today, Austin. The reason that we drop ahead of the fire with fire retardant as opposed to water, which is used predominantly for direct attack, is because the purpose and the mission of aerial firefighting is to establish a strong perimeter to slow and eventually stop the fire. That perimeter is absolutely critical, and that's why you see the red coloring of it. It gives the pilots the opportunity to tie a contiguous line across the perimeter of a fire and create what we call breaks in that fire. What that does is two things. One, it has a chemical reaction that prevents that fuel from burning further. And most importantly, it slows down the fire to give the firefighters on the ground, the ones that are doing that hard work, the time they desperately need to be able to put even greater breaks in place in front of the fire and properly stop that fire in its footprints.
Can you describe what you guys at Perimeter Solutions have been seeing this week? You guys are no stranger to fire season, but this one must feel different.
Yeah, just the nature of a fire coming in the month of January like this, it means in most years that we would not have a lot of our operations running. A lot of the air bases typically are shut down over this period of time. And I have to give a lot of credit to the Forest Service and CAL FIRE. Their predictive services saw that this was going to be a period of risk, and they actually proactively had a lot of these bases extended into January this year. The nature of these fires, when they started on Tuesday, were in the highest of winds, and it was hitting an area that has been incredibly dry with a lot of fuel on the ground. Yeah, that's a result of the rains that we had last winter. And so you had this combination of three different things of heavy vegetation, extremely dry conditions, and drought on the ground, and then just winds that we haven't seen in many, many years, all hitting at the same time. And so it was a pretty intense situation. It was an extremely rapid rate of spread. And we knew from day one that this was going to be an extended period of campaign fire that we were going to have to be able to support.
We've been
On
watching these
Tuesday,
drops. Yeah, these drops have been taking place in heavy winds. They've been taking place, obviously, in heavy smoke. How do they get that done?
yeah, listen, every pilot out there from the time these fires started on Tuesday was chomping on the bit to go out. These guys are heroes. They work in dangerous conditions throughout the year and what they do. But I think they've done an incredible job striking the right balance between safety and aggressive air attack this week and keeping the pilots safe while getting out there every window of opportunity that we've had to get out and drop and try to protect those firefighters on the ground and protect communities with the work that they're doing. In those heavy winds, at a certain point, you have aircraft that are relatively large aircraft, as you can see in the video, flying at extremely low elevations. And when the wind is too strong, you just can't avoid that much variability out there. And so they are careful, and they do put the pilot's safety first. And then as soon as we have those windows of opportunities, they've been getting out there. And these are some of the most talented pilots you're going to see. They adjust for the wind. They make sure that they're dropping the line exactly where it needs to be and adjusting for those factors of where it may blow from the time they drop until it hits the ground. And so it does make it a lot trickier. You have heavy smoke conditions, which impact visibility, and those winds combined at that same time make it a challenge. And I will tell you what, they've done just an incredible job this week.
We don't have any video of them doing the drops at night because it's a little bit tougher to watch, but they do these drops at night too. They're working at nighttime. That's something that's unique to Southern California, isn't it?
It is unique. In fact, the Tri-County area of Ventura, Orange County, and LA County has a program called the Quick Reaction Force. That is actually the only nighttime retardant operation in the world. There is also a lot of work being done through CAL FIRE, especially over the last couple of years, to be able to do water drops at night. You have added challenges there. Obviously you got low power lines. You have a lot of obstacles that you have to be sure that the pilots can fly safely through. But the advancement of technology, night vision goggles, and so forth over the last few years has enabled us to be able to hit these fires at night, which is actually the best time to fight a fire because you have humidity recovery happening. You typically have cooling weather. And that program in the LA area paid huge dividends during the 2024 fire season when they were able to get out and do very, very rapid attack against new starts during the middle of the night that in years past may have turned into a much, much larger fire.
How are planes refueled so quickly and efficiently? We've been watching the video on the screen here, and I think we do see periodically from time to time, too, that they go to these bases. They can't just sit there. They have to be quick when they're fighting these fires, correct? So how do they get it done?
Yeah, that's correct. In the US, there are over 60 air tanker bases that are all over the country and predominantly in the western states. California has a high concentration of them, of course. During the turnaround, we staff over 40 of those air bases with our, basically tank loaders and have air bases that we've constructed that allow for as quickly as possible a refill of those tanks. And those tanks could be anywhere from 3,000 gallons to approaching 10,000 gallons, depending on the aircraft they're using. The time to do that is oftentimes only about 5 to 10 minutes in a heavy fire situation. So the pilots will land, pull up, the team is immediately out there refilling the planes, and we oftentimes will have them up in the air within 10 minutes. That allows for a rapid cycle of the aircraft coming back and being able to go back out for another drop quickly. And what we're seeing the last few days is some of these aircraft, these large air tankers, are doing as many as 10 to 12 drops each during the day with a pretty sizable fleet that's available right now on the ground.
It's not as simple as just loading up the plane and going and fighting the fire. You have to work with so many agencies, different jurisdictions. There's local, there's state, there's federal agencies. How does all of that come together? And how does everybody work together to make sure that the fire is fought as efficiently as possible?
Yeah, this isn't something that's new to wildfire. Across the entire country, there are local lands, there's state lands, there's Bureau of Land Management, U.S. Forest Service lands, and that is all coordinated on a daily basis throughout the year. There's a team that coordinates to make sure that the right resources are being deployed to the highest priority fires. At a time like this, it's a little bit unique because you don't have fires going on in the rest of the country. So all of the resources available are pointed directly at this one. And in what I will say is over the course of the last week, the communication, the coordination, and the aggressive decision making between LA County, for instance, and CAL FIRE, and the Forest Service chipping in, and the federal agencies who have stepped in and offered up additional aircraft has been pretty seamless, and it's all been with the intent of being able to move and rapidly deploy as quickly as possible. We've opened up two new air bases in the matter of 24 hours. We've added two mobile retardant bases that can be deployed out in a little bit closer to the fire to allow for reloading right around the fire and specifically used for fixed tank helicopters. All of that work has been coordinated as you can imagine, a very chaotic time. It's been coordinated very, very well this week. And the result is what you see. You have dozens of aircraft, dozens of helicopters, all working in sync, sharing that airspace and making sure that they can do that safely and effectively at the highest priority areas. And it's just what they do. It's what they're trained to do. It's what we practice. It's what the agencies have worked together on for many, many years, and you're seeing it play out this week.
Jeff Emery is the president of Global Fire Safety at Perimeter Solutions. It's the company that makes Bosch-Check fire retardant. Jeff, good to talk to you. Thanks.
Thanks, Austin.
I'll slide away for a break. We're back in 2 minutes.